TV there too. Trust me.
Right, TV Land's pretty
On the boat, 'cause I get seasick.
Good morning and welcome to the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, August 6, 2019. Today we are honored to have our invocation led by Commissioner Kathleen Peters, and our pledge will then be led by Commissioner Janet Long. If you could please rise.
Father, thank you for every seat that has been filled here today, for each mind and heart that fills the presence in this room. We thank you. You truly know what we are setting out to accomplish today. We have an idea, a vision, hints, and daily instructions. We have talents, abilities, and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning, every project, every season, every life. Nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Your righteousness transcends all our efforts and understanding. Forgive us for our pride, the pride that puffs us up and the pride that threatens to unqualify us. Strengthen our confidence in who you have made us to be. Set us free from comparison in order to work together efficiently. Father, help heal the families and communities of the recent gun violence taking place around this country. Help us all find peace and joy and love. Bless this meeting today, all those present, as well as the lives of those that we will encounter afterwards. Ready us to make every moment count. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, dear God.
Good morning. Today we are very honored to have a Purple Heart Day proclamation, and representing the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Dunedin Chapter JFK, 1963, we have Mal Klingon, who is the commander. If you'd come on up, and if there's anyone else with you, please come on. Father Bob Swick could not be here. He is immediate past commander. He's ministering to some veterans in need. So if you'd like to come around here, that would be wonderful. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you. The Purple Heart is the oldest military decoration still in present use and was initially created by George Washington in 1782 as the badge of military merit. And the Purple Heart was the first American Service Award made available to the common soldier and is awarded to any member of the United States Armed Services wounded or killed in combat with a declared enemy of the United States. And the mission of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, chartered by an act of Congress, is to foster an environment of goodwill towards the combat wounded veteran members and their families, to promote patriotism, to support related legislative initiatives, and most importantly, to make sure we never forget the sacrifices made by those so decorated. And there have been many Pinellas County residents who made the ultimate sacrifice in giving their lives in the cause of freedom. And there are numerous combat wounded veterans who currently reside in our county and as Purple Heart awardees contribute to our community in countless ways. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Pinellas County Board of Commissioners that August 7th, 2019 be recognized as Purple Heart Day. Thank you.
Thank you. As you look around, you don't see a lot of the Purple Heart veterans here, but sorry. A lot of them came back with invisible wounds as well as visible, and it's hard for them to do this, as well as me. But what you do here today does a lot to heal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is such an honor and privilege to meet you and know you, and And you as well. Thank you for all you've done for our country. We're most appreciative.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Let's get a picture.
One, two, three. Hang on a second. One, two, three.
See you tomorrow night. And in our honoring our veterans, we have our Doing Things Employee Recognition Award, and I'd like to ask Jill Maxwell to come forward. Good morning. Good to see you. Our employees work hard every day to make our community better. In our ongoing video program, we recognize individuals who exemplify the dedication of our Pinellas County team. It's only through our employees and the excellent work they do that we fulfill our vision to be the standard for public service in America. As a Veterans Services Officer, Jill Maxwell ensures our military veterans get the services and benefits they've earned. Many times her assistance can make the difference for her clients getting life-saving treatment or even a permanent home. A veteran of the U.S. Air Force herself, Jill exemplifies Pinellas County's commitment to serving the men and women who have sacrificed so much for all of us. Mr. Administrator, would you like to come down and at the podium, and then we will show a video about what Jill does every day.
Pinellas County's military veterans know the door is always open at Jill Maxwell's office.
You know, the veterans that come in, you know, sometimes they don't want to open up to someone who isn't a veteran because they're like, you don't understand, you don't know what I went through. But when they come in, they see that they're talking to another veteran, you know, it allows them to open up.
Jill served 8 years in the U.S. Air Force as an information manager, supporting major projects including a test program for the F-22 Raptor fighter. She left the service in 2004 to raise her children, returning to the civilian workforce 5 years ago at Pinellas County Human Services. Then, a position at Veterans Services opened up.
To be able to help veterans, you have to understand where they came from. So this is just another way for me to be able to give back to those veterans that I served with and that I'm a part of.
Her mission is simple, but not always easy.
And we assist those veterans in applying for VA benefits, depending on what that benefit may be. Sometimes even the veteran doesn't know exactly what it is they're looking for. So we'll sit down with them, we'll find out the need, and we'll make phone calls for them. We'll, you know, do whatever we can to help put them in the right direction.
For some of Jill's clients, having an advocate could mean life-saving treatments, or even having a roof over their head.
We do have that situation if we have a homeless veteran that comes in and they are eligible for benefits. We can try to expedite that claim to try to get funds to them sooner to help get them into a home, to get them into a permanent home, not just a temporary type of living situation.
The faces on the wall at Jill's office in St. Petersburg are a testament to our county's commitment to serving the men and women who served our country. For Jill and her team at Veterans Services, it's also a personal commitment.
I am Jill Maxwell, and I am Pinellas County.
Thank you, Jill, so much. Would you like to say something?
Thank you, everyone, and thank you to all the veterans out there.
Well, Jill, I know how difficult of a job you have, and I've seen some of these cases, and they're very complex, and to be able to help those veterans navigate that and find assistance for them when they're in their most time of need is just truly amazing. So thank you for everything you do, and for the entire team at Veteran Services. It couldn't be on a more perfect day with Purple Heart Memorial and everything. So God bless you and thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else you'd like to invite to be in the picture?
Zachary, did you want to come up and?
I thought you might want to come up. Hi there. Good to see you.
Commissioners, could you take one step to your right?
Commissioners, yep, that way.
Sure. We know our right from our left.
Yes, we do.
1, 2, 3. One, two, three. One more. 1, 2, 3. Bang.
As we settle in, Commissioner Eggers has a
Yeah,
few words
thank
he'd
you.
like to share.
First of all, congratulations, Jill. That's awesome. I know you do such great work for the county. I also wanted to thank Zephyr, new director of the department, and all that you're doing day to day, but also what you're doing down at the VA on that Veterans Engagement Board. Your leadership is wonderful. And Madam Chair, you made the comment about some of our residents making the ultimate sacrifices of their families, and so I wanted to recognize Tony Gross in the audience. And I know she lost her son, Corporal Gross, a few years back, and I know we worked hard with the state to get the bridge renamed, going towards Oldsmar in recognition of her son. So I just wanted to recognize her this day as we think about our vets who've been injured or have been killed. So thank you for what you do for the Gold Star families and all the veterans in the community. Appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for the recognition. It's good to see you. Okay, before we go to the partner presentation, I just wanted to send healing thoughts to Commissioner Welch. He's not with us this morning because he had a bicycle accident. And so hopefully he's recovering and feels better soon. So, yeah. So on to our first partner presentation, and actually our only partner presentation. We're honored to have Mayor Rick Kreisman from St. Petersburg here. Welcome, and thank you for being here. We're going to be talking about the ferry.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
Commissioners, Administrator, it's always a pleasure to be here with you all on this beautiful day where it's at least not raining for a change. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the Cross Bay Ferry. It is that time where if we are going to renew the ferry for this next season, we need to take action so that we can reserve the boat. You may remember we, a couple years ago, did a pilot where we wanted to see whether the community on both sides of the bay would embrace a different mode of transit, a different way of getting across other than the Howard Franklin and the Gandy Bridge. And the good news that came out of that pilot was overwhelmingly the public said, we are interested in this mode of transportation. And so last year, with y'all's support, along with the support of our other partner governments in St. Petersburg, Hillsborough County, and the city of Tampa, we once again ran the ferry service from November to April. And I do have some good news that I am pleased to present to you again. Ridership numbers continue to increase. In our pilot season, we had more than 40,000 passengers that rode the ferry, but in our second season, last season, we had more than 52,000 passengers that rode the ferry, representing an increase of over 12,000 riders. And the amazing thing to me, again, is that we did this with one boat, with certainly not the most robust service that we would love to be able to present to the community if we had more than one boat, but that's what we've got right now because that's all the resources that we had available. But even with the one boat, we saw that 12,000 passenger increase, and as you can see from this graph, in the month of March alone, we had more than 12,000 passengers that rode the ferry. So what did they do when they rode? 81% took a trip specifically so they could go have dinner somewhere, whether it was somewhere in Pinellas County or in Hillsborough County. 37% went to museums, 31% went shopping, and 20% went to a sporting event. And of the 3/4 that were surveyed, 3/4 of the people said they spend at least $25 per person at the destination, with more than 30% saying they spent over $40. So when we extrapolated the number of riders based on the spending, we estimated that 1.5 million economic impact on our two communities, our two counties, as a result of having the ferry here. And this statistic is also, I thought, really interesting because this talked about why people were riding the ferry. And what we saw is that 60% of those who rode said that they hadn't planned on a trip, but because the ferry was available, they decided to take a trip, whether it was to Hillsborough County or Pinellas County. And 40% did one of the things we were hoping was going to happen, which was to get people out of their cars and using a different mode of transit. And we saw that 40% did that and indicated that they had planned the trip, but because the ferry was available, they took the ferry rather than get in their car. And so where we are today is the City of St. Pete had previously applied for a grant from the Florida Department of Transportation, and the FDOT has been very supportive of this ferry project and provided the city with a grant, which over a 3-year period, we've taken those dollars and extended it over 3 years. Because of the success that we saw in the first year of the pilot, in addition to having the grant, the operator, HMS, was willing to take on a larger share of the risk and thereby reduce the amounts that each of the partner governments had to put in. So between the grant dollars and HMS taking on a greater percentage of the risk, it has reduced the amount that each of us would need to put in. And I'm just using round numbers of $150,000, which is what we did last year. And you may recall in the first year of the pilot, at least, each of the partner governments was asked to put in $350,000. So we've been able to reduce the subsidy by more than half, in addition to continuing to see increased ridership. And so I stand before you today asking for your support once again so that we can bring the ferry back for another season. The most frequent question or complaint, I should say, that I've received over the last year has been the fact that people have had trouble getting on the boat because it's been sold out. And that is a good problem to have. And certainly our hope in the long term is that this serves as kind of a, no pun intended, a bridge between a seasonal service and a full-time permanent ferry service that has multiple boats providing much more robust transit options for the riders, and eventually a commuter opportunity that's not just on nights and weekends, but serves during the day to help folks get back and forth, whether it's from downtown St. Pete to West Shore or downtown Tampa or even to the Tampa International Airport. And how lovely would that be to be able to bring our visitors in from the airport into our downtown without having to get in a car. And so I stand before you asking for your support again and prepared to answer any questions that you may have. And again, I thank you all for your partnership and the opportunity to present in front of you today.
So your ask is, as you and I previously discussed, for 2 years, to go ahead and make a 2-year commitment.
Yeah, and I think the memorandum of understanding, and Jewel can correct me if I'm wrong on this, it's requesting a 2 years commitment, recognizing that you have to approve the budget each year.
Correct.
I'm just, quite frankly, trying to see if I can avoid having to do this again next year and make all the phone calls and the appearance.
Well, we
as
thank
much
you
as I love coming in front of you all.
We thank you for your leadership. I know you and I traded voice messages, and
Yes.
there were some questions from the county commission as far as whether you know tourism percentage,
Yep.
and then also whether we could possibly fund from the Tourist Development Council through a collateral marketing,
So let me
or whether that's just limited to HMS having that power.
Let me address the statistics first. What we've the information that we've received based on the survey was that, and this surprised me a little bit, because in the pilot, it was about a 50-50 split, 50% from Pinellas County going over to Hillsborough and 50 from Hillsborough to Pinellas. For this last year, 61% of the riders came from Pinellas, 37% came from Hillsborough, 1% was from Pasco, and 1% came from outside the Tampa Bay region. And so what it appears is that all of our residents on both sides of the bay are really using this as a way of going back and forth between our two counties, more so even than we saw people from outside our region. As to your second question, there's two, I'll answer it in two ways. One is, in conversations I've had with Hillsborough County, they had some concern because their county TDC cannot market the same way ours does and spend money the same way ours does. And so they were unable, they're limited on being able to use those dollars to fund their portion of it. And so they wouldn't get any of the benefits from a marketing standpoint that ours would. So they had some discomfort with that,
Okay.
As did HMS.
Commissioner Long, and then Commissioner Akers.
Could you repeat, just because you were talking fast, what was the amount that came from Hillsborough to Pinellas?
37%.
37, okay, thank you.
And if I may add one more thing, and I apologize, Commissioner. Last year, because of construction that was going on at the convention center, the boat had to dock behind the Florida Aquarium. And the result, or the impact of that was a couple things. One is, I think it potentially may have skewed those numbers a little bit between the Hillsborough riders and Pinellas riders from what we saw in the pilot, where it was almost even, 50-50. But the second thing it did is it impacted our ability to run the ferry on Sundays. And so we anticipate if we can go back to the convention center, and certainly that's our first choice, we're just checking on their construction status. We expect Sunday ridership to pick back up again, which means that we expect even more riders for this coming season than we even had last season, even with a 12,000 rider increase.
I have one more follow-up, Madam Chair, if I may. And are you anticipating that the boat will leave from the same place it did last year in St. Pete?
It will for this next year, only because the Pier District won't be ready yet in time for the beginning of the season. And it just, for us, once we have to put a dock in place for the boat to dock at, and so it wouldn't make sense to put it in place and then move it halfway through. So we'll just continue to do it from that place. We'll continue to offer the shuttles that we did to make it easy for people to get back and forth. And we actually did not have any complaints. Some people seem to like it better. But certainly with the new Pier District opening, we expect the visibility to even be better for the following year.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
You too.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
I think it
Oh,
was
yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
yesterday or the day before,
Yeah,
I
you
think.
hit that age, and so you
Stop
stop
right there.
celebrating them.
Oh, you celebrate them even more.
Yeah, that's true.
I know that when we started this a couple of years ago, we talked about funding for that first year, and probably hopefully that would be it. And of course, we've done it 2, and now we're going to probably do 3. So on this page, it talks about total cost being $742,000 and $736. What is the total cost of operating? So in other words, what skin does HMS have in the game for this project? It just shows here total cost 742, less the grant, less what we're all giving, which kind of indicates that HMS doesn't have any costs, which I know isn't the case. But I'd like to, would like to know a little bit more about that and what their commitment is.
That is, truthfully, that is not a statistic I have in front of me.
Okay.
I know
Okay.
that.
Well, this is a partnership, so you'd hope that they were in there with some
Yeah,
of it.
they're absolutely. They have skin in the game. In fact, they have more skin in the game they did last year and this year than they did in their first year. And I wish I had the number.
Maybe you could send that to us. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'd like to know that too, Mayor.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I think we are very favorably inclined towards continuing to support this and do a memorandum of understanding for 2 years. Of course, that'll be dependent on the other governments participating.
And I will be appearing before all the other governments within the next 2 weeks. I've reached out to each of the commissioners in Hillsborough County and the council members in both St. Pete and Tampa, and the support seems to be pretty widespread. In fact, there's several who historically have voted no that have indicated they're voting yes, because they've seen the impact it's had on our communities, and I think people have told them how much they love it, and it's helped change their minds a little bit.
Well, again, thank you for your leadership on this.
Madam
It's
Chair.
innovative. I'm sorry, Commissioner Peters.
Yeah, I have a question. Actually, and I apologize because I didn't follow this last year, so it's kind of new to me. But I'm looking at your survey, and so it's very clear based on your survey that the people are coming from home, not from work, not going to work, not coming from work, and not coming from hotels. So, so it seems to be a St. Pete kind of, and when you look at your data on your zip codes, it's overwhelmingly the kind of Hillsborough and St. Pete zip code. So, and not that I'm against this because it does save traffic over the Howard Franklin and the Gandy and all that other kind of things. But my question is, my surprise in the survey is that it's not touching hotels. And why are we not working hoteliers to be promoting this? Because there's very few from St. Pete Beach, Treasure Island, and that's not even far from St. Petersburg. There's very few from North County. When you look at the zip codes, the benefits that are, the companies that are benefits are the Vinoy, the Dali. I mean, they're all great organizations. I get that. We want them to come in. But I think if we're going to invest in this, we should be looking at it being more widespread countywide. And based on your survey, we're not there. I love the idea of it being a work thing, but based on your survey, it's not. And like I said, my surprise is that the vacationers, the tourists, aren't using it, which is a huge surprise to me. Love that our citizens are using it, but if we're going to invest in this, I certainly hope we're going to do something to that. And I understand that sometimes the boat is full, and I did make some phone calls to talk to people that have ridden it and just think it's great and upset that the boat was full. But, you know, if we're going to invest in this, I think it needs to be a bigger investment than just the city of St. Petersburg, is my point.
Madam Chair, I'd like to speak to that as well. Being one of those people that tried to ride last year more than once and never could get a ticket. That said, I agree with Commissioner Peters, and hence the need for more involvement from our tourist and development folks, I think. I know when we initially started, they were really excited about the opportunity, and they had visions of promoting it while you were on the ship, you know, inside. I don't know if they ever did it because, again, I didn't get to ride this last year. And I do think when I did ride the year before, Commissioner Peters, it was interesting. We ran into a young couple who lived in downtown St. Pete, but they worked over in Tampa and had tried on several occasions to use the boat to go to work, but it was it didn't have the timeliness to be able to ensure that they could get back, you know, at the end of the day, and that presented part of the problem in terms of using it for commuting back and forth to work. It's not frequent enough. And you didn't mention, and I thought I read or heard, or maybe in conversation with you, that or you were getting a grant or something to add boats. Did I just dream that? Or maybe it was at T-Bar?
Yeah, so if I may respond to kind of both comments, Madam Chair. Thank you. First off, as far as the commuter, in the pilot year, we decided to try for at least a part of the pilot run, operating it with commuter services, leaving early in the morning, and giving people an opportunity to use it to commute over to work on the other side of the bay. We suspected it probably wouldn't be well utilized, only because if you miss that boat, you missed the boat. You were out of luck. With only one boat running, we didn't have the frequency and the reliability that people need to have when they're commuting to work or getting to work. And so we didn't see robust numbers, which quite frankly was not a surprise. We weren't expecting it, but we wanted to at least try it and give people an opportunity to see if they did it, what it would feel like if we could have a more robust service. Hillsborough County is talking, and that's really where a lot of the discussion is happening, and they're going to be having that discussion this month about a permanent ferry service that initially, at least, would have commuter service going from South Hillsborough to the MacDill Airport, MacDill base, and because they have a lot of folks that work at MacDill and have a long commute, and that would be with I think they're thinking of 4 vessels. And so with 4 vessels, you get a quick turnaround, and it's easier for someone to be a commuter. We see that as an opportunity for us to have a more robust service that works on nights and weekends, with the goal over a couple years after that's full service of getting commuter service also that runs from Pinellas County and downtown St. Pete over to Hillsborough County and downtown Tampa and West Shore area. I think that the TDC and the CVB have an opportunity that, quite frankly, Visit Tampa Bay doesn't have because of the restrictions that they have on how they can spend their money. If they wanted to, they kind of have a captured market. But I certainly can talk to HMS, who does some of the marketing, and certainly our folks internally in our city. We can also assist with some marketing and try and get the word out to the hotels about the ability to ride the ferry. And you know, even if, I mean, there are people that ride it even if they're not interested in going across the bay, just because
It's beautiful.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, and certainly encourage everyone to download the app. It's the easiest way to get a ticket. If you try and do walk-up, it's a lot more challenging, and your opportunities or the chances of it being sold out are a lot greater if you try and buy the ticket when you get there. I hope I answered your questions.
Okay. Well, I will certainly take the message back to Visit St. Pete Clearwater. We can certainly do more marketing in that regard. And Commissioner Gerard?
Well, my question was about what's going on in Hillsborough with the ferry, and how will we be part of that? How are those talks going? Because they're not always the easiest to work with. And do you see that as an actual robust commuter service that can service both counties? So long-term, where are we going with this?
Yeah, and long-term, that's really, I think, the goal is, you know, we continue to do a seasonal service so people have an opportunity to ride it, get you more used to riding it until a full service comes online. Hillsborough, from speaking with the commissioners, they are going to be taking it up this month and discussing it. I think they're shooting for 3 years to try and get the service up. They're talking about 4 vessels. You know, what I know from a number of transit conferences that I've attended is it's more, and it surprised me. I thought, you know, providing some kind of alternative transit that was, you know, fancy, had great features and amenities, Wi-Fi, all those things, that would be what draws people in. And what the data told us is that the most important driver for people of using alternative means of transit is frequency, reliability, and cost. So if you have great frequency, which you get with multiple boats and you don't get with one, it's reliable, which this vessel has proved to be. I think they've hit like 98% on time each for the last 2 years. And the cost, we were able to bring the cost down, making it more affordable. You get even greater ridership and usage. So that's what I think they're shooting for, and certainly that's what we want to see happen. And I'm going to continue to work with their commission on trying to propel that towards becoming reality.
Well, and hopefully we'd be able to have an affordable fare that people could buy a monthly pass or whatever.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Madam Chair, one more thing, please. I think it would be wise if your folks or your staff could take a look at some of the other models around the country in terms of how they fund their ferry services. And one that comes to mind, which was just fabulous to take advantage of, was we attended a conference in Savannah, and we stayed on one side of the bridge, but everything we needed to do was on the other side. And there was a ferry stop right at the dock on the outside of that hotel. Every 15 minutes, those boats went back and forth, and you knew if you missed one, it was going to be okay, because you had
Exactly.
another, you could see the other one coming
Yep.
right behind it. And I think that's when, and by the way, it didn't cost the person getting on the ferry anything. I never have figured out how they do that, but it was pretty extraordinary and
We'll look
very
into that.
robust, and people were using it. And, you know, all over the world, people use their waterways for transportation. It's not, you know, we can do what other communities are doing to make this happen.
Absolutely.
Without breaking the bank, I would like to think.
I would suspect that the hotel pays a large share for that.
Maybe so.
Yeah, we'll look into that, though.
But, you know, ferries are very common in the Northwest as far and the Northeast, and so-
Boston, New York.
I know.
HMS actually operates a lot of those services in Boston.
Well, so maybe they
Which is where
know.
we get the boat from.
Right.
Because no one wants to
HMS
ride the
comes from
ferry in
Boston, right?
January. I'm sorry?
HMS comes from Boston?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they operate the Bainbridge Island Ferry from Seattle to Bainbridge Island.
I've done that one.
Yeah,
I've done that one too.
yeah, me too.
Delightful. Well, I'm excited about it, and so we look forward to getting the MOU and moving forward. Commissioner Egger?
Yeah, and again, appreciate the efforts, but, you know, I think if you talk to folks in the county, they're interested in figuring out how we can make better use of our waterways. I mean, the intercoastal is being used, we're exploring the interbay, so I think that's all good. The marketing aspect is critically important because I know there are some people in South County that refer to North County as South Georgia. So there are people up there that need to know more about what's going on in this,
Yep.
because when I look at those zip code numbers, there was very, very few people. There was some Largo Seminole, a few Clearwater, a few Safety Harbor, Dunedin, but not many at all. And I don't think there's many that really understand what's going on. And I agree with you. I think we need to explore other financial models as we go forward, because this, to me, is a perfect private model that is begging for private running and private ownership without subsidy. This is a great opportunity here for folks. I mean, it's an untapped market. And so as I asked you for that information earlier and what their commitment is, I think that's a way we need to be going with this. I think that would really make people be very creative in making this work. So anyway, there's just a couple other thoughts. So
And
thank you.
If I may respond, Madam Chair. Certainly the hope is that we continue to see ridership numbers increase. And the more they increase, the greater the opportunity is for our subsidy to decrease. I think we saw that between the pilot year and year 2, where we went from 350 down to 150. And that, quite frankly, was totally because HMS had a lot more confidence based on the ridership numbers. And so the greater the numbers grow, hopefully the smaller our number goes. And so that certainly is a goal.
But again, the idea of private ownership is they take risk, so, and more of it.
Right.
But anyway, that's just my feeling on it. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
And I get why you want to do the 2-year thing. And I know he's got great numbers for this year, but if we don't have great numbers next year, do we still want to commit to a 2-year? Or can we put some considerations in or parameters in on, I mean, I would like to see that some of the destinations might be on the beach, or some of the destinations might be further than, Central Avenue. And, I'm not seeing that, and I think if you're going to commit, I'm worried about the commitment to 2 years. I think there should be some parameters and not just I know we have to vote on it, but not just an assumed, and maybe I'm the only one that feels that way, but.
That's coming back to us anyway.
So it does have to come back to you for budget approval. And so that's where, if you didn't like the numbers,
Okay. I just want to make sure we're not making a
I'm
commitment.
sure we'll get an annual report.
absolutely.
Yeah, I just don't want to be
absolutely.
committed to a 2-year.
We can make it subject to annual appropriation, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore, if you don't
you.
appropriate, then
Yeah, and I think that language was in there for that exact reason.
And I've made a note to talk to Visit St. Pete Clearwater, not only about marketing this ferry service, but marketing all the ferry services that are existent in Pinellas County. Making sure people know that there's alternative transportation options. So, because there are other private ferry services, so, okay. thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate everything that you do, and
And you all will be taking the MOU up this month?
Well,
Or no?
we don't even have it yet, so.
Okay, I know it's been.
Do you have it?
I think we do have it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just have to commit to the vessel this month in order to reserve it before.
Well, we have a little bit of a time piece here because we didn't have any heads up on this, so now I've got to put it through CATS. I've got to have legal review it and then get it into our queue to put it on 20.
And my understanding is it is in the Legistar queue process.
Okay. You have it for the 20th? Oh, never mind.
Very good.
I should have asked Della. I know better.
Thank you all.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we are now moving on to our public hearings, and we are sitting as the Countywide Planning Authority, starting with agenda item 4.
Items 4 through 6 are proposed amendments to the countywide plan map. Public hearing was properly advertised. Affidavits of publication have been received for filing. No correspondence has been received. The matters are properly before the authority to be heard.
Okay, on agenda item 4, I do not have any cards. Does anybody wish to speak on this agenda item? I'll close the public hearing.
Move approval. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gerard, second by Commissioner Long. We'll go ahead and open up the voting cards.
Mine hasn't come up.
Mine hasn't
You
either,
joined.
actually.
I'm a yes.
Me too.
Okay, so we unanimous approval. Very good. Agenda item 5 is case number CW 19-12, City of St. Petersburg. Again, I have no cards on this agenda item. Is there anyone who wishes to speak?
Should get rid of it for you.
I'll close the public hearing.
Move approval.
She needs to come out.
It's up here now, and now I can't get rid of it for the last one. Where's Chris?
I have a motion by Commissioner Gerard. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Long. We'll go ahead and put the voting cards up.
This is, number 5 is up now, so you can go ahead and do
Okay,
that one.
I'm good.
Okay, we have unanimous
I'm so
approval.
sorry I picked it next. Thank you.
Agenda item 6, which is case number CW 19-13, City of Tarpon Springs. I have only one card in favor of this, and it's from Mr. Ed Armstrong. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this agenda item? Okay, then I'll close the public hearing.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gerard, second by Commissioner Eggers.
Mr. Long. Janet.
Yes, I'm a yes.
All right, a unanimous approval on this case. Thank you. And now we'll move on to agenda item 7.
Item 7 is a quasi judicial petition. All those wishing to give testimony in this hearing, please stand and take the oath. You swear to tell the truth in the testimony you're about to give, signify by saying I do.
Okay,
This
so,
quasi judicial petition to vacate submitted by Travis H. Duval and Christina N. Duval for a 15-foot drainage and utility easement lying in Lot 70, Rolling Oaks subdivision. The public hearing was properly advertised. Affidavit of publication has been received for filing. Letters of no objection have been received from the appropriate parties. All interested parties have been notified as to the date of the public hearing. No correspondence has been received. The matter is properly before the board to be heard.
okay, there is a recommendation by our staff for denial of the petition to vacate based on county staff objection. So I know the applicant is here, so I'd like our staff to do a presentation, and then the applicant will have up to 20 minutes to present your case.
Good morning, Commissioners. Andrew Pupke, Administrative Services. This is a petition to vacate for a 15-foot wide drainage and utility easement at the rear of the petitioner's property in the Rolling Oaks subdivision near Tarpon Springs. The petitioners are seeking the vacation to provide enough space in the backyard for a swimming pool and screened lanai. The Development Review Services and Planning Departments are objecting to the petition based upon a couple of reasons. One being access or future access to the easement should the vacation be considered, as well as the potential for future utility usage of the easement. There are no utilities currently in the easement, but there could be in the future. And if I may, I'll show you, I apologize for the small size of this, but the red square here is the area of vacation. This is the petitioner's property. And for context, the easement goes around the entire end of the pond. This is a pond that is maintained by the HOA. And then just to the south of the petitioner's residence is a paper street, a right-of-way called Cypress Avenue, which is the county's access to that easement. So in regards to the potential for removing access, future access to the easement, this is our access to the easement through the right-of-way. And if that area that is behind the petitioner's property was vacated, we would not have that same access. And we do have utilities within the right-of-way. There is drainage that comes through the right-of-way from the residential street into that pond.
Okay. Any questions for Andrew?
Yeah, real quick.
Yes.
Yeah, the maintenance of that easement. Now, what do we do right now in that easement area from a maintenance standpoint?
Not entirely sure what we do as far as maintenance is concerned. It is our responsibility, although in this particular situation, as we're speaking about the petitioner, they have a fence that is within the easement. So a good portion, if not most of the easement, is in their backyard. So they would probably be maintaining that portion of it. However, if we had something in there to maintain, then we would have that responsibility.
Okay, thank you.
I thought you previously said the HOA maintained it.
The HOA maintains the pond.
The
We
pond.
maintain the easement.
I see,
Yes.
okay. And it's difficult to see, but on Cypress Avenue, is that just all wooded?
Let me give you probably a better. So it is not, it's overgrown with oak trees, but Cypress Avenue is grass up to the point where the easement, or I should say the right-of-way ends at the top of Bank.
Okay.
So it's not overgrown. There's an old stockade fence that separates the end of the right-of-way from the pond, but we would have access there should we need to, because whatever is there would need to be removed to provide access in the future.
Is that a retention pond for the HOA?
Correct. And those pipes that I referred to that travel from the residential street through inlets on the street, travel through the right-of-way and dump out into the pond.
The Cypress Avenue right away?
Yeah, they go through the Cypress Avenue right-of-way, correct.
Blake, did you have anything to add?
Thank you. Good morning. Blake Lyon, Director of Building and Development Review Services. To Andrew's point, and the point that I wanted to stress, the easement that extends behind the subject property and the others, while it's for utility and drainage, also provides access to equipment. So one of the things, even though this is a private easement and is the responsibility of the HOA, from the Development Review Services side, we want to make sure that we're allowing for the continued facilitation of that. And so given the slope of that pond, it's a fairly significant slope to the depth of that pond. They use that 15 feet along that area to bring in the equipment to service that area. So if they had a bank failure, or if there was a need to somehow restore or regrade that pond bank, they effectively need that 15 feet to traverse the top of the bank to do that. And so when we start talking about things that aren't movable, a fence is certainly removable and easy to address. When you start putting in permanent improvements like pools and other things, it becomes much harder to maintain. And so when somebody's accessing that, they're using the equipment, but the extent of their work actually has to be performed. So if they're digging, regrading, stockpiling materials, all of that has to be contained within the easement. So Our role and responsibility from the Development Review Services side is to try to maintain the consistency with the site plan and to allow for that future maintenance activity, even though it's not the county that would be performing that, it would be a subsequent responsibility of the homeowner to hire a contractor to do that work. So,
How much of that easement are they needing for what they're looking to do?
They
I
are
know
re-
they're asking for the whole thing, but
Yeah.
how much are they using? Do you know?
I did speak with Mr. Duvall, the petitioner, and they are asking for at least 10 feet of the 15 feet. And that's really too much for us to give away in terms of what Blake just described about the equipment. We could potentially compromise at reducing it by 5, but not by 10.
Okay.
And in talking with Mr. Duvall, it doesn't meet with the expectations that he has for the size of the pool.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from
Not right now.
commissioners at this point? Okay, Mr. Duval, if you'd like to come forward and present your case and maybe answer some questions,
Yes,
and you do
ma'am.
have 20 minutes.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, thank you for your time today. Bear with me, I'm not the best public speaker.
For once.
I deal with air conditioning typically, so they don't talk back to me. My wife would love to be here today. She is taking care of a 6-week-old.
Oh,
So-
congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm here fighting for my wife today. So the picture I put up, did I put it up right? So this is our pool plan. The easement we are asking for to leave 5 foot there. Now on the right side of the house to the fence line is 10'9". We are willing to leave that easement there all the way back to the fence because the 8 foot you see here, that's it's not poured concrete. It's going to be pavers. So it's actually 8 foot to water's edge. With the 10-foot easement, we would only have a 7-foot wide pool. So at that point, I'd rather just put in a lap pool at that point. But this is the design we worked hard for. We began this process over a year ago. So just looking forward to getting this resolved. I do have, so that's that. Any questions on
Yeah,
that
I'm
per
not-
se?
yeah, if you don't mind. That drawing there, I'm seeing the pool being 12 feet wide,
Yes, sir.
3 feet additional, and then a 5 foot. And I'm not sure what that dotted line represents either. So if you could.
The
that's
dotted
prob-
line is the current easement, the red line there.
Oh, okay.
That's what our pool planner put in there. The 3 foot is just the walkway around the back of the pool, so that's gonna be pavers.
Okay, so to the black dotted line at the top. to
Oh,
the-
that's the property line.
To the red, so where is the easement that you're vacating? Is it on the other side of the property line, or is it at
No,
the
that
red
is,
line?
that's our whole yard pretty much.
Okay.
So that 15-foot easement, we do maintain that. It's our yard, so cut the
Okay.
grass.
I'm confused by this.
Oh, here we go. Thank you, Andrew. So that's the easement right there, that red dotted line. That goes, if you were to put that on top, that's our pool.
I think you turned it. I'm trying to get used to seeing these in the same.
I know, I can't.
Could you turn it?
I'm confused.
This way?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so,
So can you point out there where the pool is?
I
Is this
can, so
entire-
the pool would be kind of, if you will, I can draw on this, Andrew? Certainly. Okay, so the pool is gonna split, kind of go right in the middle of that line, which is why I have, so our pool kind of splits that pretty evenly, and that's what that red hashed line on there is. I colored this in with blue pen just to show that was the easement we were fine with leaving, because obviously that's all gonna be grass. That's around that pool. I also do have,
Mr. Duval,
Yes,
Madam
ma'am.
Chair, may I ask a question? I don't know if I need to ask you or maybe, what is the equipment that they're talking about getting back there?
I honestly have no idea, so to speak on.
I heard you say it was just grass, correct?
It is just grass. Now, to speak to that, we wrote all the utility companies. I think there was 14 or 15 of them. All of them had no objection to this. Now, in the letters themselves, they wrote back, it didn't say for future use, but in my opinion, if they're gonna not object to, we had to send them these pool plans, each of those utility companies, and each of them did not object to this. Now, that's me saying that that's me understanding that in the future, they're not gonna need to get back there because they would have objected at that point if they ever had any, I mean, this is Spectrum, Frontier, all the major utility companies. And they, no objection with them, so they, in my opinion, that's saying they would not need to access that yard in the future for any reason.
I think you also included the HOA had no objection.
The HOA had no objection. My neighbor, I have a letter from my neighbor to the north of us. The Decans, they have lived there 29 years. They stated to me, I mean, they're not here, so this is hearsay, but they stated to me, and I have lived there 2 years, I have never seen any piece of equipment. I went back there, I do have some pictures, and took pictures of the drainage pipe back there. It is completely overgrown, nobody goes back there and mows, and that's on the HOA, you know. There's never any standing water in there. It was dry as a bone back there, and with Florida, you know, we have all this rain. You'd think it'd be muddy or anything, it's completely dry.
Could you show us those pictures?
I
And
could.
wait, before you do.
Oh, sorry.
If you can put that back.
Yep.
I mean, no, the other sketch, with the pool on it. So,
Yep.
this one. So, where is the fence right now? Can you
The
just show
fence
us?
is this black line.
It is there,
When
okay.
we did the fence, that went through permitting process, and the fence line we were told that is the property line where they put the fence.
Okay. So you're proposing to the, let's say, east, 5 foot left of an easement, and then to the south, 10'9"?
Correct, 10'9". That's to, the 10'9" is from our fence line to the side of our house.
Okay.
And to the edge of the pavers. So the pavers are gonna go the complete width of the back of the house, if you will. So we were just told to ask for the whole vacation of the easement. We were told that by our pool guy. He said, you know, ask for the most, you know, and negotiate from there if need be.
Okay.
So,
And now the photos would be great.
Absolutely.
To see those.
now, I'm not a professional photographer. The first picture I want to show you is, this is the Paper Street,
If you can
Andrew.
put it like you would see it, there you go.
Okay. This is the Paper Street Andrew was talking about. It is actually a half-circle driveway that our neighbors to the south have, you know, when I moved in, that had been there for years, so it's kind of like just.
That's
grandfathered.
Cypress Avenue?
That's Cypress Avenue,
Okay.
that driveway. I drew in there the drainage pipe, 40 to 45 feet from my fence line to where that drainage pipe, now this is from, also, I got that number by this picture. When I went into the pond back there, you can see.
Oh, my goodness.
You can see it's pretty full grown, no snakes bit me, no worries. This circle right here, did that show up at all?
Yep, it
Yeah, we
does.
can see it.
That is the drainage pipe that comes out into the retention pond. There's roots growing in it. I didn't want to get in there because I didn't want to go falling in there. And I've watched it too many times. I know there's clowns in the sewer, so. But that is where I measured back there. That's 40 to 45 feet, so I kind of just transposed that to the Countrywood Street, the street that my house is on. So in my opinion, if that pipe ever needs to be worked on, that seems to be sufficient space. I know that's not the only concern, but that's one of the concerns I want to address. I feel like that's sufficient space. And that's not even counting the 10 foot into my property if it needs to be accessed.
So can I ask a question, Commissioner Seal, please? Is that the responsibility of the homeowners association?
Yes, that property back there.
Well, is anybody talking to them about cleaning that up? That's a mess.
Yeah, we have community board meetings. I've only been to one of them. Like, I've only been there 2 years. I've only made it to one board meeting there. Unfortunately, with my schedule, it's pretty hectic. But yeah, that's never really on the agenda, but it is, so it's overgrown back there, but it is dry. You know, it's.
Well, my concern is more, is this a neighborhood that has children in it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Do they go back there and play?
They would have to, so there is, I do have a picture here. It's a Google Maps picture. Sorry, I just printed off pictures of anything and everything. Not,
That's good to be prepared.
yeah, yes, ma'am. So this is Cypress Avenue, right there. Andrew spoke on that. There is a fence back there an old wooden fence, so they can't, I can squeeze back there, I'm sure a child could too, but I have never seen children playing back there. There is also this empty lot back here, but this is heavily wooded with trees and nobody back there. Oddly enough, these houses on this side don't have a fence in the back. So yes, their grandkids or kids could go crawling back there, which is kind of funny. One question, now I don't know if the easement is down here on this house. This is the house to the south of us, but their house is about 5 foot from their fence line in the back. I don't know if that same easement applies there, but that's a permanent structure there that, you know. So, I mean, we know we're asking a lot. We bought the house. When we bought the house, the survey that came with it wasn't really a great copy of it. So we didn't really see that drainage easement until we went to go apply for it. But the pool guy actually asked for a better survey. We had a guy come out and do the survey, and that's when he said, oh, you have a 15-foot drainage and utility easement. So I was like, well, that's interesting. So I guess the major points I have are all the utility companies didn't object. So in my opinion, they're forfeiting their right in the future to ever go back there. I mean, they had all the plans, all those plans I've showed you. In fact, this one too is the main, so this is the, I forget the exact name of it, but this is, it was on a raised seal we had to send in. So this is.
TV land, we're not seeing it.
Not seeing it?
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, sorry. So this was the survey we had done, and we had to have the pool, they had to put the pool plan on top of it. I can leave this copy with you guys too. I have with you folks, I have plenty of copies.
Can you show us the sketch of the pool again?
I sure can. I guess put it that way would be better.
So, in the back of the pool, you're putting 3 foot of pavers?
Correct, and the
Okay.
lanai, the screen in lanai, Florida's famous for their mosquitoes. So we
That's
got-
where the screen will come down as
Correct.
well? Okay.
So the screen will be the whole width of the back of the house and then 20 foot back from the house, which is our 5 foot walkway at the house, the 12 foot wide pool, and the 3 foot walkway in the back.
And 8 foot on the other side
And
for
8 foot.
pavers, and then 11 foot on the other side where there's no request for the easement, okay.
The 10-foot 9-inch, is that a vacation request also? Is that part of it?
No, I just put 10 foot 9 in there. The hashed line here, that's what the easement we could, I don't want to say get away with, but we would be able to make work with our pool design. So this 10 foot 9, this easement would stay, this portion of that easement would stay, and then 5 foot off the back of the fence, and then this is 15 foot here. So,
I'm understanding why you're asking for it on this side. I'm just not seeing why you're asking for it on the south side. Why you're asking for a vacation over there.
on this side?
Yeah.
We are not asking,
Oh,
that's not
okay.
that's not an easement right
Okay.
there.
Oh, it is.
That's just the property.
Oh,
which
that's
is-
your property.
which is-
Okay.
Now, we'd be willing to, the whole side of that property, if you guys want to put a 10 foot 9 easement in there, the whole side of the property to allow for proper access to that drainage pipe on Cypress, more than willing to go with that, because we don't, that's grass for our dog to run over there. We'll bring them inside if equipment needs to get over there. It's no big deal. I feel that there's sufficient access now to speak to Andrew about, if the HOA needs to get back there and regrade that pond. I understand his concern with having to get equipment up in our property. There are grading equipment out there that can be down low, and I've seen it before in construction. They're called grade-alls. They can grade the slope from down below. I know everyone has a job to do, and everyone has been great up to this point. It's just been a long process. So we were originally told it would take up to 6 months, and here we are a year and a month later, and we're just kind of ready to know either way.
What would, if we split the difference and just said 7.5 foot, which kind of compromises, and it takes a couple feet away from you, maybe a foot on the paver and a foot on the pool, what does that, gives it 7.5 feet, to keep 7.5 feet for for what they need. And maybe, I don't know what their comment would be about providing an easement on the end, on the south side, if that would alleviate some of their concerns. If that would alleviate their concerns, then we don't, we can probably look at your request. But if it doesn't, how would it be for you guys if it went to a 7.5?
Let me just do quick math real quick. So that would take 2.5 feet, so.
You're taking a foot away from the pavers, 1.5 feet from the pavers, and a foot from the pool.
We could do it. They left it 5 foot from the house. Our pool guy said, because I asked them, I said, what if we made that walkway 3 foot and moved the pool down? And they stated when it's close to a house like that, you want 5 foot there. We could, I guess we could go a foot shorter on the 3 foot side, but this, where it says +12 right here, that's a little raised waterfall right there. So I can't speak to, I don't know if they need that 3 foot for pump equipment or whatever it would need for that waterfall right there. Something the wife picked out there. I'm fine with just flat all the way around, but. So I think we would. We could probably make that work if we could make the pool 11 foot. Even if we make the pool 10 foot, I think that would be sufficient. And then I think we could lose half a foot somewhere.
And maybe staff could comment on your willingness to consider the south side as an easement area, and would that alleviate some of their concerns?
Good morning. Raheem Harji, Assistant County Administrator. Hi. So I just wanted to talk about a couple of things just to make sure we're all on the same page. So the first thing is, yes, this is maintained by the HOA. However, the county has a responsibility if there is something constricting the flow out of the pond, we have the responsibility to go out there and clean it. Just want to make sure that everybody understands that part. And I'm just going to switch this for a second. So that's the pond right there. If the applicant is willing to look at options where maybe he doesn't want to vacate, doesn't want to ask for a vacation for what he's asked for in this application, and maybe reduce that, we'd obviously be willing to sit down and look at it some more. But the equipment that would be needed to go out there and maintain it or rebuild those banks, if it was a shallow pond, it wouldn't be that much of an issue. This isn't a shallow pond. There has to be some space beyond the top of bank to be able to rebuild this pond in the future. There is going to be some maintenance, some heavy maintenance, as you can see from the pictures that you saw, that is going to need to be taking place here. It's the HOA's responsibility. I would not be comfortable with saying that if we only had 5 feet or even 7.5 feet for the easement that we could do the maintenance. We'd have to go back and look at that and work with the applicant to maybe come up with something that works for both of us. But typically the minimum that we can do is 10 feet, which would allow for only 5 feet to be vacated. So if this is something that the applicant's interested in looking at different pool options or working with a contractor, I would suggest we sit down and go through that process and then come back with something that maybe works for both of us.
What about the south side easement? Does that help you alleviate any of your concerns?
Not necessarily, because it still has to do with the bank that's in the particular area. So that 10 feet would be around the entire pond. That's typically the minimum that we can work with. Even with, we do have some specialized equipment. It works when the pond isn't that deep, but when the pond is deep, it gets more challenging.
Can I make a statement? So my question is, I understand the pond's deep, but that pond is completely dry. Even during the heaviest rainstorms, I had never seen any water. I've asked all my neighbors, none of them have ever seen any water in that pond. And from my understanding, so around that whole city block around that pond, it looks like all those street drains all go into Cypress Drain and then back to the pond. So you're talking 4 streets worth of drainage, which I've seen, oddly enough, go down the street drain, but never into the pond. So kind of confused about that, you know, maybe.
And I can explain that real quick. I mean, the pond is designed as a dry pond. It's designed to percolate a lot of the stormwater that comes into it, but it does have an outfall structure. so that when it does rise up, things pop off.
Okay.
And this is something we can sit down and kind of go through in a little more detail. What I would suggest is maybe we do that as the next step. I think there is a workable solution, but
Well,
obviously we're here today.
Yeah, the 10-foot easement, there's just no way we could make that work because our pool would be 7 foot wide. No matter where we move it in the yard, if I could show that picture again. As you can see, this easement goes, I mean, this, well, here, let me show this one. Because that is, just see, my vision's not that great.
North would be this way.
But I was just trying to see, so on the north side of the yard, there's 10, 11 foot left there to move the pool down. We can't put it on the side of the house, can't bring it any closer to the house. The only thing we can do is take away from the pool itself. So that would be a 7-foot pool, and that's just not something we're willing to negotiate on, in the fact that that just wouldn't be a usable pool in our eyes. Now, I understand wanting to go back and go through over this. I just, you know, we've got an estimate from the pool guy a year ago, and I'm afraid that cost would even go up, and the more we put it off, the costs are just gonna increase more and more with our pool. And on a timeline we were originally told up to 6 months, it's double that. And my fear is if we, you know, if I don't know, I don't see it going any further. If you're saying 10 foot's the best we can do, then there's no point in even really pushing it on further, because, and there's nowhere else in the yard we can put it. It's just, it's frustrating, because we've got a yard that I mow, I take care of, and we pay property tax on, and I can't use it for something that would benefit my family and something we bought the house with intentions to doing. Now, so that's just my, you know, I'm not trying to be,
No, you're being very respectful.
I'm not,
I understand where you're
and I don't
coming
want to
from.
come off disrespectful at all. It's just, that's our, you know, my wife has told me the same thing. 5 foot would be the most we'd be willing to bend on. And that's really the only, the 7.5 foot, I think we could go for. But it sounds like with them, the 10 foot is the minimum they're requiring for equipment.
I would ask that, I think there's a couple more options that we can both look at, especially with the right-of-way that's to the south.
Okay.
There may be a way that we could vacate some of that area. I think there's a workable option.
But that wouldn't help our depth here. You're talking about vacating. We can't put a pool on the side of the house. This is the only, I mean, the back, it's 10'9" on each side of the house. That's, you know, that's the only, you know, that's, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. That's just, that's where we designed our pool. I mean, we measured out, because originally Gene Croson had come out with my wife that day. I wasn't able to make the day. Cynthia Harris and Gene Croson came out to look at this property, because he did mention that to my wife, you know, maybe you guys could redesign the pool. And we asked the pool guy, but this, I mean, he's like, well, there's no way you can move this pool down at all. There's no room over here. Can't bring it close to the house. There's no room on the side. So unfortunately, it is what it is. This is where
But this is Cypress right here. If the county needs a portion of that right of way for the existing pipes that are there, if the county does not need the entirety of Cypress and can vacate a portion of that, and the pool were to go from this vantage point, if this became wider and now the pool could fit here, it would still allow you to preserve the easement. So basically, we're talking about potentially extending your property over and being able to build a pool.
That's why I think maybe we need to just sit down and go through this together. I don't think we'll be able to accomplish that here today, and I totally understand your frustration.
And that's why wasn't that brought to my attention before in this, because I reached out to Gene Croson, 2 emails, 3 phone calls and voicemails, never received a call back.
Well, that's my bad, and I'll apologize for that.
So-
How about maybe just right now after this meeting, you and I can meet and maybe try to work this out?
I'd be interested to know what the board
Yeah, I mean,
thinks
we're
about
still
this,
here for the
because,
vacation.
I mean, now, does this mean we have to buy more property?
No.
Let's move that up, and Raheem, if you could.
Because I don't.
Show us what you're thinking about, because.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so it's actually easier to see it on this. There's county right-of-way that is right here. We might not need all of this, because the only thing we have is access to get to these two pipes. Maybe there's a way that we could vacate some of this area that would allow him to maybe build his pond.
Problem is all these trees. Who's going to remove these trees?
I'm trying to come up with a workable solution that would help you.
And we have been too. I'm not looking for more property to take
Sure.
care of. You know, I understand you're willing to work, but this, can I show this picture back? The part they're talking about adding onto our property, this is all,
Pull it down just a little bit.
move it down, sorry. That's all, they're talking about this area right here. That's all trees, brush, wooded, you know. I've already, I don't know, pretty firm on not wanting that. I appreciate your bringing that up. I just think for me, it's just a little too late, and I just, you know, we came here with the understanding that we would get an answer today, and I think both my wife and I are just at that point where if it's, you know, I mean, I don't know. I can ask my wife. I guess I shouldn't speak on her behalf on that part. Maybe we can talk. It's been a long time, and we're just.
Madam Chair, can you put the photograph of your pool up again?
Yes,
Or the drawing? Because you're opting for 11 feet. Is that the north side where you're opting for 11 feet on the side? And I understand it's symmetrical and it's right in the center of the house, but if you opted for only 6 feet or 5 feet on that north side, you would, you know, it's not centered in the middle of your house, but you'd still free up a whole lot of that easement for, you know, if you moved, what is that right now? You got 10 feet, right? And if you made that 15 feet wide, but just by moving the pool to the corner of your backyard versus in the center of the backyard, that frees up probably enough, except for the lanai. I don't know if that's the structure in which you can't take down. But you can do kidney-shaped pools and things like that free up that right side. It may not be the whole backside of the bank, but I would like you to. I would really like you to. I know you're tired and frustrated, but I think if as long as Raheem is willing to be creative.
Kidney pools cost more with the cost that we're looking for. I mean, this.
I get you frustrated. I understand.
It's just the way the house is laid out on the property. This is really the only option I don't know.
And just so that we're on the same page too, whatever action happens today, whether it's vacated or not, we could still have this discussion to talk about options as we move forward. So it's not just the one and done.
Okay. I understand.
Mr. Gerard?
Well, I mean, if you absolutely had to have an answer today, it would be no from me. I think I would like to see you meet with Raheem and see if there's another way to do this. I mean, unfortunately, you didn't know about the easement when you bought the house.
Correct.
You should have. But, you know, they and it seems like you should be willing to give up the waterfall. And there might be a way to do it then, but.
If we do the 7.5 feet, like we talked about, but they're saying no to that. The
Right.
7.5 foot,
Right.
you know, meet in the middle. So at that point,
You know-
yeah, if it goes to 7.5 foot, we'd be more than willing to meet in the middle there. I know 2.5 foot doesn't seem like much, but I don't.
As
To
I
that
said,
point, we could
it
sit
would be
down.
no if I had to vote today.
I
So
understand.
if you have any flexibility, I suggest you talk to our staff.
Okay, which I have tried to.
So are you wanting an answer today then on a motion? I mean, it doesn't preclude, I don't know what the rules say about bringing back another vacation in a period. That's not an issue, that they can go talk and work out something else and come back. I'm comfortable splitting the difference at 7.5 feet. And, you know, but that, you know, if you're ready for a motion, I would be willing to do that and then see how the board feels about it.
Okay.
But you know, beyond that, I wouldn't be comfortable, so.
Okay.
Commissioner?
So my question is, Mr. Duval, I so feel for you. What's the possibility that we could put some parameters around the decision-making here so that he doesn't have to wait another 5 or 6 months for this to be resolved? Can we ask maybe that they work it out somehow and come back and put it on our agenda the next time we meet? And by the
we
way,
could continue this until the next meeting. That way we wouldn't have to re-advertise.
And that would be my suggestion too, in order to
it doesn't
save
cost
that.
him any more money? They're not
Correct.
going to charge him any more
If
to
you
come back?
If you all continue this to a date certain, So you pick August 20th or whatever your first meeting in September is, then there would be no advertising costs.
Would that be amenable to you, Mr. Duval?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then.
That's what I would suggest, is that we continue it to a meeting certain. Do you have a date, Raheem, that you would?
I'm going to meet right after this meeting. So
I move that we continue this matter until our very next meeting and no later to give Mr. Duval a decision.
Okay. That would be August
And to be
20th.
clear, that would be August 20th.
August 20th.
Same time, same place?
And I would second.
No,
No.
it's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, motion by
then
Commissioner
public
Long to
hearings would be
continue
6.
this to our next
August
scheduled
20th at
meeting.
2 o'clock.
And Commissioner Justice.
And if I could clarify one thing for our applicant, it would be a 6 PM public hearing on August 20th.
6 p.m.
6 PM,
Sorry.
correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I support the concept. I think give our staff one more chance, one more crack at it. I have one of those pools that is a very skinny pool because, I mean, it was there when we bought the house, but it literally is the pool, not a 3-foot walk like you're planning, maybe a 2-foot walk, and then a little bit of grass and then the fence because we've got utility lines and that kind of thing.
I understand.
And then the other thing I would tell you is make sure with your pool designer that you have enough space between your pool and your home and some sort of drainage system
I was
for
thinking
the
the
rainy
same thing.
season. As you,
We do have, so our back of our house is 412 pitch. They are going to have what they call a super gutter in
Yeah.
between that and lanai to drain away for just,
Just make sure you're.
make
for
sure you're,
just, yeah.
Got good drainage in your pavers.
Absolutely.
it's a painful lesson.
And not
I just-
not to forget the safety fence around the pool, because from one who's had a child fall into the pool, got him right away, but make sure you do that too. So.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I agree.
I fell into my pool and I'm not a child.
Well, we have a motion to continue to August the 20th.
And lots of
public hearing at
unsolicited
6. Do I have a second?
Hey, all welcomed, and I
Okay.
appreciate your time very much today.
And Commissioner Jarrett is the second, and I just want to mention that I'm glad that you're not coming after the fact. We get a lot of utility vacancies due to people building it without coming through the proper
I know
channels.
better, because that pool's going to come right back up if that's the case.
Well, no, a lot of people come after the fact and say, whoops, I put the screen enclosure in the wrong place. And so you're moving in the entirely right direction, and we really appreciate that.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much.
And you did your homework, which, good
I should
presentation.
have recorded that so you could tell my wife.
She can
All right, so we'll look
She
forward
can
to seeing
watch
you
it.
on August the 20th and having a resolution to this.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Go ahead and pull up the voting cards, please.
This is to
Okay.
Continue.
Unanimous to continue this. All right, we now move on. We're out of our public hearings, and we have our consent agenda, which is items 8 through 14. Anybody want anything pulled?
Number 13.
13? Anyone else? Approval?
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Gerard, second by Commissioner Justice. Absent item 13. We'll pull the voting cards up, please. Okay, it's unanimous. Moving on to 13, please.
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you. Just if somebody from staff could talk a little bit about what this is intending to do. There seemed to be a trade-off for the $8 million to extend the life, and just a little conversation about that trade-off and what's going on at the plant. Thank you.
Steve is on his way up.
Steve, good morning. Steve Salto, Operations Division Director, Utilities.
Craig Osmansky, Senior Engineer.
And could you restate the question?
Yeah, well, you all, in the backup, it talks about extending the life of the facility by these improvements. So I just wanted to understand exactly what's going on there. It's a lot of money, so I just wanted to make sure I understand.
They currently have existing shallow bed sand filters, and they have the maintenance on them is very high. They have red worm problems out there, and the useful life's about up on them. And now, the manufacturer's Aqua Aerobics, they've redesigned a cloth filter, which gives you more capacity, and so we'd only need two of the bays that we have now. And they're more efficient and require a lot less maintenance. You'd have another 20 years of life.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the original sand filters that when the plant was built, those were the filters that were put into place. They've really, lived out their 40 years of life.
40 years.
They've been rebuilt one time,
Uh-huh.
but.
So the technologies have changed to get away from the sand, which requires more disinfection, more cleaning, more maintenance by staff into these cloth and disc type filters,
Right.
which require a lot less maintenance.
So by doing it now, we extend the life of the facility for 20 years?
For at least another 20 years, yes, sir.
Okay, that's all I
They
need.
just do a better job.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Move approval.
Thank you. I'd like to second and also say, I think in 40 years, we probably got our money's worth.
I would think so. Okay, motion by Commissioner Egger, second by Commissioner Long. Okay, that is unanimous approval. Moving on to the regular agenda, agenda item 15, Mr. County Administrator.
Agenda item 15 is a resolution approving a qualified applicant for the Qualified Target Industry Tax Refund Program.
Any questions?
Move approval. Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Gerard, second by Commissioner Long.
And this one is for 150% of average annual wage.
Correct.
Right,
Okay,
in St. Petersburg.
thanks.
Okay, unanimous approval for 15. Agenda item 16.
Agenda item 16 is a ratification for a county administrator's approval of award of a bid to Porta Pit for emergency food services. So this obviously provides emergency food service contract for emergency activations.
Move approval.
Second, that's a terrible name for food.
I know, I was
It
going to
is.
say that. I decided to stay away from
I
it.
guess they'll be hungry, so.
But at least it's a pit rather than a potty.
And that's 300, that's 300 for 5 years, right? So it's, or six.
Correct, and-
Yeah, 5 years. So 60 a year.
Motion by Commissioner Long, second by Commissioner Gerard. Okay, unanimous approval. Moving on to agenda item 17.
Agenda item 17 is the second option of a renewal for an amendment number 4 to an agreement with Catholic Charities of St. Petersburg for Pinellas Hope Emergency Shelter.
And this is a one-year renewal.
Move approval.
Correct.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Long, second by Commissioner Gerard. And I noticed that they did agree to housing first. With some parameters, yes, okay. They seemed reasonable. So, okay, we're ready. Last but not least, okay, that passes unanimously. The next is agenda item 18.
Agenda item 18 is funding agreements with Pinellas County Homeless Leadership Board for diversion programs and bridge housing. The diversion program provides case managers and flexible funding for client-related assistance, and the bridge housing provides flexible bridge housing, emergency shelter beds, and case management services.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. I had a question at the work session whether I thought that the bridge housing did not go the full year, and so I didn't know whether there were any monies that can be used to for this next fiscal year.
Good morning, Daisy Rodriguez, Director of Human Services. And so the program did start in March, so it
March.
started a couple of months later, and we estimate about $150,000 it might be able to lapse over or carry over.
Okay, great. Super. We had a motion by Commissioner Long and a second by Commissioner Peters. Okay, passes unanimously. Agenda item 19.
Agenda item 19 is a resolution adopting a health and all policies approach to county decision-making, policy development, and implementation. This acknowledges county's department's roles in promoting community well-being and a collaborative approach to equity and social determinants of health in the county decision-making of development projects.
Okay, and we'd ask for a presentation. I see Caitlin's here.
She is.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Still morning. Again, Caitlin Murphy. I'm a health planner with the planning department, and in that role, I'm coordinating the county's Health in All Policies initiative, which is what I'm here to give you a brief update on today. This way. There we go. So first of all, Health in All Policies, it's a collaborative approach to improving the health of all people by incorporating health and equity considerations into decision-making across sectors and policy areas. It's an approach that's endorsed by the Centers for Disease Control and the World Health Organization. And you can see in the map on the right-hand side of your screen some communities that have formally implemented this approach, this Health in All Policies approach across the United States. So it's implemented at all levels of government, from local up to federal. Here in Florida, Hillsborough County, our neighbors, have implemented a Health in All Policies approach to their transportation planning through their county health department. And then as part of this initiative, the City of St. Petersburg and the City of Pinellas Park are also working to implement a Health in All Policies approach to their local government. So why do we need a Health in All Policies approach? There are a lot of complex health and equity issues that we're facing across the U.S., Florida, and here in Pinellas County, so including things like chronic diseases and rising healthcare costs. I have a few examples of some of those health issues on the screen for you here. So the map on the right-hand side of your screen shows you the percent of adults across Florida counties who are considered to be at a healthy weight. This is as of 2016 survey data, and you can see that darker counties are those that are faring worse off in this indicator, so a smaller portion of their population is considered to be at a healthy weight. Pinellas falls sort of in the middle, but only about 35% of our population is considered to be at a healthy weight here in this county. In addition to that, from the same survey, 12% of Pinellas adults self-reported poor mental health as of 2016. And then lastly, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and the University of Wisconsin, they produce a report every year that ranks counties within the same state against each other for their health outcomes and their health factors. So Pinellas ranked 25th out of 67 Florida counties in terms of their health outcomes. And when I'm referring to health outcomes, that looks at length of life and quality of life. So there's certainly some room for improvement there. So why do we need the Health in All Policies approach again? There are a lot of factors outside of the traditional health and healthcare arena that affect our health and quality of life within our communities. So really, in order to improve health outcomes within our communities, we have to think beyond the doctor's office, beyond the hospital, beyond the public health department, to all of the conditions in our environment that affect health outcomes. So these conditions in which we live, work, and play, they're also known as the social determinants of health, and you can see some examples of these social determinants on your screen. So everything from housing in neighborhoods to our transportation system to our parks and our natural environments have a greater effect on our health outcomes than the clinical care. So while clinical care is really important, we need to also take a look at how we affect these environments through our decision making as a local government. Because all departments affect some area of the social determinants, all departments in the county can have a role to play in improving health outcomes. And this is where the Health in All Policies approach comes into play. So Health in All Policies, or HIAP, offers an opportunity to work across sectors and policy areas to improve health outcomes, but it also gives us the tools that we need to analyze our decisions before we make them for potential health outcomes. So before the county implements a new policy, program, plan, or project, we can use some of the tools in our Health in All Policies toolbox to determine whether there might be positive or negative outcomes of that action, and to make recommendations to either enhance those positive outcomes or mitigate the negative outcomes. I'd also like to note Health in All Policies is not meant to promote health above all the other factors that you typically would consider in your decision making, so we're still considering things like the economics and the environment of a decision, but promoting health as another consideration at play. So there are 7 main strategies for implementing Health in All Policies. One of the first steps that you would typically take is starting to develop your cross-sector relationships. So there are a couple ways that we're doing that here within the county. The Health in All Policies Collaborative was formed out of a grant from the Foundation for a Healthy St. Petersburg, which was awarded to the Department of Health and then in turn awarded to 3 local governments, so Pinellas County, the City of St. Petersburg, and the City of Pinellas Park. And through this funding, all of those municipalities have a health planner that was put into place to work within their local government and across jurisdictions to implement the health in all policies approach. Forward Pinellas also thought that this was a really important initiative, so they came to the table as an unfunded partner as well. So those members make up the sort of foundational partners of the Health in All Policies initiative at the county-wide level, and we're looking at how we can incorporate additional members into that collaborative as we move forward. And then within the county, we've also formed a Health in All Policies work group with representatives from across departments. So back in April, department directors and assistant county administrators were trained in this Health in All Policies approach and then designated a representative from their departments to participate in this work group. And they're working with me to identify opportunities to incorporate additional health considerations into the work that they're already doing within their departments. So these are some of the other strategies that you would incorporate into implementing your Health in All Policies approach within your governmental organization. So education and capacity building, this is something we've already been working on within the county government by doing presentations to staff, but also by conducting presentations with community partners across the county, making sure that everyone understands the language of Health in All Policies, things like the social determinants of health and health equity, as we discussed earlier. Incorporating health into decision making. So one example of how we're already working to do that is on the county's comprehensive plan, Plan Pinellas. So we're looking at that plan through a health lens. How could we identify potential gaps in policies within that plan and incorporate more health promoting policies into the plan? And then on the back end, how can we measure outcomes from that plan using health related metrics in addition to some other traditional metrics? Implementing accountability structures. So one way we can do that, as I just mentioned, is through those health-related objectives and performance measures, but also through things like adopting resolutions or ordinances that promote the importance of the Health in All Policies approach. And our overall goal within the county and across the countywide initiative is to institutionalize healthy public policy in our decision making. So with that in mind, that's the county, or the planning department has recommended that the county adopt this Health in All Policies resolution, which will really formally acknowledge the role that all departments have to play with health and well-being in our communities, and reinforce the considerations of health and equity and the social determinants in the county's decision making. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I would like to think that a lot of our departments already do this kind of intuitively. It's kind of nice maybe to pull it together and have those tools available. And to the extent that we're looking at our different departments and trying to be more responsive, I think that frustration level that our residents sense or feel probably would be improved, if you will, by an approach that addresses their concerns a little more quickly and better. So as to what we're doing to improve the health of our residents, I think that's right up the alley. So I commend you for the work, and hopefully we're already doing a lot of it. Thank you.
I'm going to move approval with just thanks to the Foundation for Healthy St. Pete for funding this. I think it's a good idea.
They're a fantastic partner.
Good job. Anyone?
Yes, Madam Chair. Just also that if you have in the development stages getting ready to open their Center for Health Equity in St. Petersburg, and if you have a chance to tour that, I know Joni James or Mr. Lavender will be reaching out to arrange those tours, but it's worth a visit.
Oh, good. Good. Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay, we're very proud of all the hard work you've been doing, and look forward to seeing more progress.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, agenda item 20.
We need to
Do we need to approve
vote on the
this?
resolution.
It's just a resolution, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the
Move approval.
resolution?
Motion.
Okay, sorry. Was there a second? Long?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Gerard, second by Commissioner Long. Okay, very good. Moving on to agenda item 20.
Agenda item 20 is a grant agreement with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for the Long Key Upland Beach groin replacement project. This will provide for the replacement of 4 permanent T head groins and for the 2019 federal nourishment project at Upland Beach.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Justice, second by Commissioner Long. Okay, passes unanimously. Moving on to agenda item 21.
Agenda item 21 is a resolution amending the allowable industrial pretreatment program local limits for the presence of pollutants by industrial sewer customers. And any technical revisions beyond that, I'll refer to staff.
Move approval, Madam Chair. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Long, second by Commissioner Gerard. Are there any questions? Yes.
Can we just get a brief?
Yes.
In English, what that actually means?
Okay, I would agree with you. Someone here from utilities?
No, but Raheem is. Here.
I'll also need to defer to staff for some more of the technical questions, but basically what this is we're required to state what the maximum limits of certain things that we can accept at our wastewater treatment plants. It varies per plant because the types of plant, but basically what this does is set those maximum limits of what we would expect. So that's the skinny version. If you have any more details, there's somebody here who
Is
can
there,
help me.
Come on up.
is there, the question I would have is, this is dramatic change from previous years. That's really the only, you know.
What's your introduce yourself?
Michelle Milford, Water Quality Division Director. Emily Moore with Tetra Tech. We're a consultant for the county for this project. So
the
really
question is
there.
what-
After we had to redo South Cross because we had some issues there,
It's
so
a-
this.
It's a permit requirement. Every time we get a permit renewal, part of that includes going back and reevaluating your local limits and just make sure that they're still protecting our plant. So it's a permit requirement.
This is actually positive.
No, I just,
It's
you
a
know,
good
I
thing,
want to make sure that we weren't,
Yeah.
last year we were allowing X per thousand, this year we're allowing Y per thousand, and what that changes.
Right.
I mean, I'm not an engineer, so I just wanted to
Yeah,
be able
there were minimal changes. The local limits that were in place are still protecting the plant. There was one change in one parameter. It was silver. It was slightly less, but it didn't impact any of our industrial users, and we don't have a problem with silver at the plant.
That last sentence is what I was going to ask, so thank you for bringing that in. Who is it going to affect?
I'm
What-
sorry?
What industrial customers was this change going to affect? And you just answered that, so thank you.
Okay, good.
Appreciate that.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you very much. Is there a motion and a second?
Move approval.
I think there already was.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't write it down. I've been trying to write it down. There we go. Thank you. All right, moving on to County Administrator Miscellaneous.
Well, Commissioner Welch is not here, but I wanted to provide a quick update on the SBE program and the efforts underway under Dr. Cynthia Johnson
I'm sure he's listening.
to make improvements to that. He's recovering well. So, you know, if you recall back in 2018, we had 72 vendors that were registered. Well, they're already at 387 year-to-date.
Oh, my.
So they've really hit the ground running in terms of doing outreach and getting more people to participate in our program. And you know, as you know, with contracting, after you get them registered, then getting them into a process of actually getting contracts takes time. But again, last year for all of 2018, we were at 2.9 million. We're over 5 million currently year to date, and with a lot more in progress. So the program's going very well. We're just happy to see them take a hold of that and really work with our local businesses, our small businesses, to bring that program to fruition. So some good news to report.
Awesome.
Excellent. Okay, good.
The other one that I wanted to report on is we're actually, it's kind of a good news from the economy, but it's stressing our staff, which is we've got a lot of revisions, and we've talked about the need to make improvements in our permitting process. However, they're being challenged because we're at an all-time high for the number of permits that they're dealing with, and as you're well aware, some pretty difficult issues to deal with and some pretty large applications. So in addition to implementing the Acela project and having that, and now we're looking at the permit review, they're just being challenged. So we're having to prioritize, look at some of these things. We're continuing to make revisions. We're going to be reaching out to many of our customers and having some input sessions to where we can hear from their perspective how things are going and what ideas that they have on ways we can make improvements. But we have to work because they're being hit on 3 different fronts right now. And so I really appreciate the work staff's doing to try to make these improvements. But we're going to have to kind of work through this process because they're dealing with a lot of things all simultaneously. So those are my things to report.
Okay, great. County Attorney, miscellaneous?
I have nothing.
Okay. Any other county administrator reports? All right, we now move to public comment. We have 2 cards. David Ballard Geddes Jr. And he'll have 3 minutes.
All right, good afternoon. David Ballard Geddes Jr. I live on Georgia Avenue in Palm Harbor. When does the liberty, freedom, and happiness of our privileged leaders become an unhealthy establishment, and our leaders, as privileged, begin to display characteristics of personal and individual motives separate from their proper purpose and show discourse acting on principles other than what they have originally brought forth and professed themselves to be acting upon, and deceptively begin using freedom as a course, as a political tactic to undermine the general welfare of all society, using liberty as a method for taking the health, the safety, and the welfare of the whole of civilian life, using political happiness and freedom to slowly formulate the absolute loss of health, safety, and welfare of all society as its motive of process of aggregating the water resource, intent on laying civilian society bare under the liberty of its control, using the spirit and intent of this Constitution to lay bare the Gentiles as process due in the 14th Amendment. A spangled banner of shame is upon this government. The relationship of the powers in this government with the civilian population are torn. This board, as based on the reclaimed water variance application, has violated our human rights to health, safety, and religion in regards to accessing our essential water supply, violating its own home rule charter in section 2.02E. The hypocrisy of our existing government and the bonds they claim to possess against us are constitutionally counterfeit to a jurisdictional state of utter and actual failure. Your ship of war concerning captures on land and water in Article 1, Section 10 is an unwarranted constitutional act of piracy and is to be dismantled. In light of this Constitution's warlike tactics in protection of civilian life, our society and our loved ones, a relationship between leadership in this land and the civilian population must be restructured, revealed, understood, and restored to a health and social wealth that serves and benefits us all. Thank you.
Lenore Faulkner.
Good morning, Commissioner Seal and your distinguished commission. God bless you and your work. I'm Lenore Faulkner from Madeira Beach, Florida's professional educator for 52 years. certified in biology, chemistry, mathematics, science, health education, middle schools, and the gifted. In 1992, I actually lost my job because Florida students won the Florida lottery. Money was actually cut and new teachers were eliminated. I lost my job and requested a year of computers. It was granted. I took 21 hours at St. Pete College and 4 graduate hours in teaching computers at USF in Tampa. When I returned, I almost lost my life due to 3 mold and mildew middle schools. I taught the schools I taught at. Florida lottery was bait and switch. Because of the toxic conditions at Pinellas Park Middle, my allergy doctor wrote a letter for me to retire immediately in 2003. My last chemistry class was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Buccaneers. It was my best. The school board has never responded to my doctor's letter. I promised to speak at every school board meeting until Pinellas Park Middle opens a new school. I've been speaking since 2005. So let's get back to charter schools. Posted November 14th, 2018. Pinellas Charter School racketeers gets 20 years in prison. Marcus May, who arguably deserves the title of Godfather of Florida charter school fraud, is heading to prison after stealing millions from taxpayers and forcing the closure of Windsor Prep and other charter schools in Pinellas, Tampa, and 4 other public school districts from Miami to Pensacola. An Escambia County Circuit Court judge sentenced May to 20 years in prison and ordered him to pay $5 million fine Tuesday following his prosecution by the statewide prosecutor and conviction for 2 counts of racketeering and fraud charge. This is the second one I'm talking about now. He was first arrested in June of 2017. I was extremely excited to hear news from former Windsor Prep parent Dorothy DeLue. The families are getting some justice and getting some justice for the pain that caused our children. I would like you all to work with Mr. Wolf from Pinellas County Schools and get a history on every school, charter school for the past 10 years in Pinellas County. Our people need it for the new law that has gone out. Thank you. God bless.
Greg Pound.
Greg Pound, Pinellas County. Okay, you just heard that report of the corruption in the system for money. Now, we have the exact same problem with our political leaders here in Pinellas County. Isaiah 9:16 says, "For it's the leaders of the people that cause the people to err." And so that's what we have, is we have a problem with our leadership in America. They have sold the truth out. This verse here in Proverbs 23:23 says, "Buy the truth and sell it not." And when you look at the rest of the verse, it says, "Buy the truth and sell it not, also wisdom, instructions, and understanding." And when we don't understand the cause and effect of reaping and sowing that the leaders allow to come in and then contaminate the people that are underneath them, there's a structure of authority that the Creator created for the protection of the whole of people by abiding under an authority structure that He's created. And so what we have now is, because of this ignorance of people selling out the truth for money, you have no understanding why we have these mass shootings. Did you see what the guy over the FBI said for the United States? He said the white people are the terrorists. He said this past week. I've listened to it 4 times. They're the homegrown terrorists in America, and now they want to disarm. You got African Americans and Indians had to get a gun permit. Gun permits were not for white people, neither were marriage licenses. Look up marriage licenses, look up gun permits. They were only for people that were being oppressed. So what happens is now they want to come in. If they want to disarm America, they need to disarm the white people of America, because they're the ones who are destroying this country, the very thing they built. They become wealthy. Their wealth is eating them up. It's like a cancer. They've sold the truth out for money. That's why it says, "Buy the truth and sell it not." When you sell the truth out, we've got criminals running our county. Criminals running Pinellas County government. Committing fraud, racketeering. You illegally took my children from me. My daughter now has got a crack problem. Her life has totally been ruined by what you people have done. And I've come here almost every single 2 weeks now for over 15 years, and you still haven't done nothing. Showing the evidence, the documentation. You got Robert Guattieri, Jim Coates' lawyer for 9 years, up in Tallahassee, standing before the Justice Senate Committee and telling them on the date 2/19/19, you can go watch it. Go look it up on the website for Tallahassee. He gets up there and he says, I'm not only the sheriff of Pinellas County, but I'm also an attorney. Okay, and the guy he's breaking the very law, the separation of powers, that was put in there in order to keep the people in the position of authority, not the people we elect into office. Now we have tyrants. When Benjamin Franklin said rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God. If the American people are going to be obedient to God, they need to get the people we got in our government locally. I'm not talking about we live in Pinellas County, and you've turned this place, like it says in the Bible, the wicked shall be turned into hell, and that's what you've done to Pinellas County.
Moving on to county commission business, agenda item 26, we have 2 appointments to the Greater Seminole Area Special Recreation District. If you look at the applicant worksheet, it appears that Lisa Borzeski and Amy Hartman are the only 2 that are eligible because of their residency. So I didn't have ballots printed, so.
I would move to approve both of them.
Move approval?
Question.
Okay.
Just on the notes, on the one applicant works subordinate for the other applicant, or for a current commissioner on that board, is that any issue? I mean,
I didn't know whether that meant the county commission. I was kind of curious about that too.
I'm assuming based on the comment, it means another commissioner for this district.
I think works for Mr. Strickland,
But she works for Mr. Strickland.
who's on that board as well.
That was my assumption from reading it.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
So I didn't know if that was an issue as far as having someone who was an employee of another person on the same board.
I don't see it as an impediment. The only potential impediment would be, and I would need to look into whether this is a sunshine board. It'd
Right.
just be something we need to advise on. Or
So we
have
just
the
need to
appropriate attorney
Advise
district
them
advise on.
that they will be subject to sunshine law, so not to discuss it at work or outside of a public meeting. Yes.
Thank you for bringing that up. So they're going to sit on the same board and vote on items, and one person works for the other person in the real, outside the.
Real.
Yeah, it's an employment thing. Yeah, that seems to be problematic. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not, against the rules, but it just seems like it could be an issue.
How many people are on that board? Is it 7?
7 commissioners.
There's 7.
It could certainly present issues from a sunshine perspective. The best way to handle it is to advise against that.
Well, is it possible to vote on one and ask for another applicant that doesn't have that kind of relationship?
You could certainly appoint one individual and recruit a second person, since the third individual on here does not qualify due to their residency.
Is that y'all's preference?
I think so, just for the potential.
I think the perception is not good.
Unless they wanted to come back and give us some clarification, but it just presents an odd situation. I don't know how contentious these meetings ever get, but if you have someone working for another person and there's a close vote, it does present opportunity for issues.
I agree.
All right, well, Commissioner Peters, if you could withdraw your motion.
I would withdraw that motion and move to appoint Lisa. Lisa is the one that's not the issue.
Amy Hartman.
Amy Hartman is the one that has the issue?
No.
No.
She's fine.
She's fine.
Lisa has the.
So, okay, then I apologize, and I would move to nominate Amy Hartman.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Peters to appoint Amy Hartman, second by Commissioner Long, and then we'll go out and recruit again.
And then somebody from our staff will notify
Lisa and explain.
And Mr. Strickland, please. just so
And
they
again,
know.
if they want to bring clarification, I'm not trying to, you have someone who wants to serve, I want them to serve, but that's just.
Right. They are volunteers after all.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and are we sure it's a sunshine body?
I'm not, but we can check into
They
that.
used to be a taxing authority, but I don't believe that they are anymore. Just for kicks,
We'll
it
take a
would
look
be
at that.
nice to know. Okay.
Okay, so we had a motion by Commissioner Peters for Amy Hartman. And who was the second? Was it
Janet,
Justice?
Ms. Janet.
Gerard?
I was.
Oh, Long, sorry. Okay. Okay, welcome to Amy, and thanks for her service, and somebody will communicate with Lisa. All right, moving on to County Commission new business items. Is there anything to come up before the commission today? Okay, then I'll move to the County Commission board reports and start with Commissioner Long.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my first report is on the Tampa Bay Regional Transit Authority and the fact that we have our next meeting on Friday, July 26th. We have some incredibly exciting things coming up. We're going to be talking about our cable-propelled transit and our air taxi opportunity, and so lots of exciting things going on at T-BARTA. We do have our legislative strategy that we are continuing to work on, but it will mirror a lot of what we did last year in terms of our attendance policy for our committees and trying to make sure that we have the opportunity for them to vote so that we can make recommendations to the board and also for the two mayors to appoint an alternative. Secondly, PSTA, we have the Central Avenue Rapid Transit project moving forward and are working now on a rebranding of the acronym BRT. We are supposed to get our final notice from the feds on that part of the funding for the project. We also had a very robust discussion about the size of the buses that we would order for that line, and we settled on, after a lot of discussion, the 40-foot buses so that we're able to build our stations to accommodate the 60-foot bus when we build that ridership, which we are anticipating that we will do. The one thing that came up that was pretty significant are the service changes that PSTA makes regularly 3 times a year. Most of the time, the changes are minimal and are responding to seasonal changes in traffic and ridership, but in an effort to ensure improved on-time performance and reliability. This change that we're about to make in October is a significant change to our North County connector routes, which are in Dunedin, Palm Harbor, Oldsmar, and Safety Harbor, and will become fixed route service and no longer, why are you laughing, Charlie?
Well, you said Palm
The
Harbor,
part that comes out.
kind of like Bar Harbor.
Well, I am from Maine, lest anyone forget. Okay, and this service will no longer accommodate off-route flex service. The main benefit of this change will be to improve on-time performance of the routes, which has been a chief concern of most of the riders in that area. We'll also make route adjustments based on the rider flex requests that have been received over the past 2 years. Overwhelmingly, the public comments have favored this change. Any customers with limited mobility will be given the option to join the innovative same-day mobility on demand program as an extension of PSTA regular paratransit or DART service. As we close in on the draft budget for 2020, PSTA continues to demonstrate its efficiency, but also the general lack of investment in public transportation in our county. We're pleased and hopeful that the continued county commission discussion of all unfunded transportation needs will be able to advance the needs of public transportation and help meet the county's goals of providing a safe, effective system that connects people to jobs and workforce development opportunities. Lastly, our current leadership PSTA class of 219 had a very successful Feeding Tampa Bay event at the PSTA headquarters last week. We were able to distribute food to over 300 hungry families, many of whom were bus riders and many of whom had never been to a Feeding Tampa Bay food bank before. And we're all hopeful that we can find a way to make this a recurring event to consistently help our community with both access to food in addition to food itself. Our next board meeting will be held on August 28th, 2019 at 9 a.m. And then Forward Pinellas, which I'm sure our chair will speak to, had no August meeting. The Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council's next meeting is this Monday, August 12th. And the work of myself in the last couple of weeks since we met has been a very fabulous opportunity to participate in the electrical vehicle launch, which has the tagline of Driving on Sunshine. I just love that event down in downtown St. Petersburg on the 29th of July. And I actually had an opportunity to drive the Tesla, which if none of you have done that, I highly recommend it. It was just fabulous, and now I want one. Yesterday, several of us had an opportunity to attend the dedication of the Circle of Heroes project that is going on out in the Gulf of Mexico. It was an incredible event, just a terrific opportunity to honor our veterans and especially our wounded warriors that are coming back from combat. There was lots of press, TV, and radio coverage. I have to say I was very disappointed that there was no one from the Tourist and Development Group out there, because we started off with them being highly engaged in the project when we had the very first press conference, and just about everyone who spoke talked about the fact that this was such a unique, one-of-a-kind opportunity in the entire world, and would definitely, and is on track to become a worldwide tourist destination. As evidence of that, I learned yesterday that most of the dive shops in our area are booked for months with people wanting to come and go out and do that dive. And there were about 80, maybe a little more or less, divers that were on boats right out there, right around the Circle of Heroes, that just couldn't wait to get in the water and participate in the first dive. So those of you who still like to read the newspaper, you may recall that about a week and a half ago, there was a front page article with pictures on there about the Circle of Heroes. And today in the local section, another front page article with a fabulous picture. So I do hope that our tourism and marketing industry will be participating in the ongoing, marketing effort with that project, just because it is so unique. And it was nice to see some of our hoteliers represented there as well. And lastly, I want to speak to, and I hope you will all allow me to just talk a little bit about the letter that was in the church bulletin at Mass on Sunday from Bishop Parks. I just feel so strongly as an elected official representing our citizens that we have an obligation and a duty to speak to some of these horrible tragedies that are going on in our country. And we cannot be so naive as to think that this could not happen here. And I'm hopeful that as a board, we can offer some suggestion or some communication to our state and federal leaders to please take action on these, especially the horrible shootings that are going on. This is clearly unique to our country, or so it seems. There are many other countries in the world that have mental health issues and people who watch video games. They don't have the mass shootings that we have here in the numbers that we are having. And I think we have an obligation to just speak out about them and do something with our voices to let our elected leaders at different levels of government know that this is just not acceptable. I don't want to repeat every word that Bishop Parks spoke to, but I thought his point was right on when it talks about the obligation of our elected leaders. I hope you will join me. Thank you.
Commissioner Akers?
Yeah, thank you for your comments, a couple of those comments. Real quickly, as Commissioner Long stated, we won't be meeting in August for the Forward Pinellas, but I did have the opportunity to go over to Orlando on behalf of the state organization for MPOs, and it was a good session. We kind of got into the legislative policy positions, many of which were similar to last year. We kind of reorganized some of the priorities, but a couple that I thought just, we're continuing to work on revenue sources for transportation in the state. And so one of the things that we're going to continue to work on is index to local option fuel taxes. We don't think there's a lot of traction in Tallahassee for that, but I think nonetheless the local or the statewide MPO folks thought it was important enough to continue emphasizing that regardless. Also to try to stay away from the earmark process of appropriations and stick to the MPO and local planning process, which I think the earmark process can really backfire and hurt an area. So we're trying to continue to focus on that. And I think I would just comment on two others. One is to continue to try to get the levels to our TRIP, which is Transportation Regional Incentive Program, back to 2007 levels, and to reduce the diversions of the dock stamp proceeds for non-transportation purposes like they were originally designed for. And thirdly, we talked about SIS funding. Those are like US 19 and the sorts. But asking for a little flexibility on how funds are expended for those SIS facilities. In other words, if there's a facility located nearby where some of those SIS fundings would help alleviate the problems on that SIS road, for example, like if we wanted to do something on McMullen Booth that would alleviate congestion on US 19, continue to ask and continue to explore giving more flexibility to SIS funds and how they can be used. So that was another area of interest. So it was a really good session, and we continue to look out for our municipalities and cities. So I just wanted to give you a little flavor of that meeting. At the PSTA, our chairman gave a good summary there. I had asked staff to maybe come back with a conversation as to exploring partnership expansion with the Jolly Trolley. We talked about a 16 trolley purchase for PSTA this year, and many of us, well, I'll just speak for myself, didn't know what that was going to be used for. I thought my own thinking was it was going to be used for pass-throughs to the Jolly Trolley, and that's not the case. So I just wanted to get a better understanding of that program, especially as it relates to the entire expansion of service along the beaches and in North County. So we'll be waiting to hear back from staff on that at a future meeting. The CVEB, which is our Veterans Engagement Board down at the VA, will next meet on August 26th. Tampa Bay Water, our next board meeting is a couple weeks away on August 19th. Our regional MPO efforts through the TMA will be meeting on September 6th. So it's kind of been a quiet few weeks of committee meetings, and our collaborative school transportation committee not until October 2nd. Just a couple of final comments. One, just to remind everybody that, as we said earlier in the meeting, there is Purple Heart celebration tomorrow. The county has their celebration at 10 o'clock at Memorial Park down by the VA. Dunedin is having theirs at 6 o'clock in downtown Dunedin, and Oldsmar is having theirs at 11 o'clock in their waterfront park on the south side of Oldsmar at 11 o'clock. So, finally, just I have a Healthy Kids board meeting, strategy and board meeting session this Thursday in Orlando. And to the shooting issue that you brought up that's going on in our country, I certainly think that there are multiple reasons that this happens. You can't isolate the reasons in any one instance. It probably is a multiplicity of things. And I sure wish that our federal government would decide to work together. And there's a lot of smart people, a lot of good people, staff and representatives and senators, that some work can really be done. And of course, our sympathies go out to the families, but I am just so tired of the rhetoric and it's either all about access to guns or it's all about mental health, and then everybody goes to their corners. And I think it's a really complicated issue that we need to address together. I brought up the policeman that got water dumped on them a couple of weeks ago up in New York, and those are just things that we can do better. And I thank you for bringing that up from the bishop. And I just think that I continue to challenge our folks in Washington to think of the country first. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gerard?
Yeah. Well, I would agree on the violence issues. I think it's not about politics. It's about taking care of our children and our communities. And if we're not willing to do something, if we can't do anything here, and that's a question, then we need to send people to Tallahassee and to Washington that will do something and will. You can talk about mental health services all day long, but if you're not willing to fund it, if you're not willing to do anything, then you might as well throw some more thoughts and prayers out there, because they mean nothing. It's not enough to fly flags at half-staff and to talk about it's a mental health issue, or we need to harden the schools, or whatever else you want to say about it. If you're not willing to act, then just shut up. And that's all I have to say about that. And I will reiterate that we need to send people that are willing to act on our behalf, that represent our wishes, because the majority of people in this country want some reasonable gun controls. So let's act on our wishes. My favorite topic, C-SPAN. Some of you saw, I don't know if everybody saw, that the Trenum law firm has stepped down, and that we'll be looking at hiring another entity starting next month. We're going to be sending out that RFP and working on that. We have several meetings scheduled, one of which is to evaluate our current executive director to see if we want to renew her contract. I'm hoping that we do, because I think she's doing a great job. There was a meeting last Friday with the Department of Economic Opportunity from Tallahassee about the Department of Labor report, which went very well. They reiterated that they're on our side, that we're working together on this response. The commissioner from Hillsborough County made a point of saying that, well, gosh, we're not sure about that 17 million and how much of it is our responsibility, because these funds were commingled. And Jennifer immediately said, oh, no, they weren't. We can tell exactly where those, she will be defending us. But I also think we need a vigorous attorney to defend our interests in that area, so. Yeah, so as somebody warned us, I think they are willing to throw us under the bus to get less of the onus off them. But we're not gonna have any of it, so we will be watching. That's all, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Peters?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. I did attend the opiate task force meeting. It was the first time I attended that one, and it was interesting. It was very different than the Fusion meeting. Some of it was the same, but a lot of it was different. I wanted to say that law enforcement is really working together. They've ramped up a new kind of way to attack drugs as they're coming in and get the dealers. Our undercover workers that are partnering with St. Pete, Clearwater, and the Sheriff's Department are doing a really, really good job, and they've gotten creative on how to find out who the dealers are and how to get them. So they're working really hard, and I think they're doing a good job. Hopefully we'll see that in our overdoses, but right now we haven't, but hopefully we will soon. Also, I want to put a shout out to Rita Newman. She is the laboratory director at the forensic facility, and her analysis and her reports are really saving lives. She's been with the county 30 years. She's really outstanding. But it's her work that's really saving lives for citizens and our law enforcement that are responding, so they know what's out there and how to be safe when they react to it. So she's amazing. She's a huge attribute to both the Fusion meeting and the Opiate Task Force meeting. The Youth Advisory Council.
Would you please email us the author and the name of the book?
The author and the name of the book for what?
Huh?
Author and name of the book.
I thought you said she wrote.
No. She provides information to law enforcement about what kind of drugs are on the street and what's in them. So
She works with a medical examiner.
Yeah, she's awesome, and she's really making a difference in saving lives. She's really protecting our first responders, so she's just awesome. But she's been with the county for 30 years, and I just want to give her a shout out. She's amazing. And she was able to find some loops around the new hemp law that was really making marijuana recreational. There was nothing we could do, and she's found some loopholes that we can protect our citizens on that issue. So I think she's awesome. That's the Youth Advisory Council. We're opening up applications tomorrow, and that goes through August 30th. So if you know any youth that want to be part of the advisory committee, please have them send in their applications. And the open house is August 26th. And I just returned from Portland on Friday evening for the NACO's partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on economic mobility. The first couple days of training were very affirming, and Pinellas County is doing a lot of really good things. Most of the stuff we toured and looked at in Portland we're already doing. Some of it we're doing better. One of the last days there were some interesting incubators that they showed us that were good. I don't know that they'd be a good fit for Pinellas County, but it's kind of nice to see that out-of-the-box creative thinking to really help communities in poverty be more independent and successful, and for sustainability. They also showed us some data that eventually I'll talk to our staff about, that we currently use the data system, but they showed us some better ways in which we can utilize that data in all of our decision processing and planning. And so they offered up training to come and help our staff so we can learn how to use the system that we already have better. And so I'll be reporting on that later. But the next section of this initiative that the Gates Foundation is doing will be in September. We'll be meeting in Minnesota. And then again in November, we'll be meeting in Maryland. So that's what I got for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Justice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Not too much to report as far as board meetings. It was a great day yesterday out on the water in the Gulf, and an impressive display. And I want to thank the whole team that's worked these years to bring this to fruition. It was, quite frankly, I had some doubts when it all started, but being out there yesterday and seeing the reaction and hearing about the niche markets that we still have to tap with the tourism, I came away very impressed. So it was a great day, and looking forward to tomorrow's memorial as well. Last a couple weeks ago, I had the opportunity to be a judge at the YMC Spelling Bee. I think I sent you all a photo from the event. It was a great event, and the students were wonderful. Ms. Capone and Mr. Jezik from the Y were great as far as organizing it all, and they had Dr. Biddleman and Dr. Grego and Dr. Tomlin from our partners were also judges, as well as the Tampa Bay Rays were very involved. But great event, but it was also great to have it at the Exchange and see the Exchange work and function like what we've been talking about. So that was a great day. I want to welcome Scott Sanford, who's the new Chief of Fire at Palm Harbor, and they have an event for him, welcoming him. Yesterday, all the principals and teachers reported for duty, so I want to thank them for getting ready for another year. The students report next Wednesday, so watch your traffic as well. So thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. I don't have anything because you covered the T-BARDA meeting. JWB doesn't meet either, so I don't have any board reports to bring up, but I do want to concur with recognizing the tragedies and the need for addressing these issues on a state and a national basis. This is simply unacceptable, and we need to, I'm willing to draft some kind of letter on behalf of the commission to whomever we think it would be wise to send it to.
And we thank you. We've talked a lot about the preemption and how Tallahassee's taken that ability away from us. And really, in the broad sense, I actually agree with that. I think there should be some state rules that we don't have 67 different rules on these big issues. But I think sometimes when they preempt us, they forget that also means that not only do they get the power to make the decisions, but they now own the responsibility of enacting policies that react to that issue. And
Thank you.
So I think something to communicate that reminder to them would not be a bad thing.
Okay.
Thank you. And if it's all right with all of you, I thought it would be, I mean, I'm happy for you to take that letter from Bishop Parks and send that forward. I just thought it was so profound. I know the letter speaks especially to immigration, but we do have those kids being housed in our state. And along with that, I'm sure he just didn't have an opportunity because he had prepared the letter for Sunday's Mass. But the shootings and the horrific, I mean, that story of that young mother falling on her 2-month-old baby and dying from gunshots, you know, at the same time breaking that baby's bones. And I don't know if you read the backup story today in the paper about they had just dropped their 6-year-old off and were going to Walmart to prepare for her birthday party. And now these children have no parents. You know, this is not the act of a man that was mentally ill. This is the act of a young man who has been radicalized for terrorism. We need to call it what it is and stop this horrible, whatever it is, affecting our young people. We're supposed to be leaders here. Don't we have an obligation to do something? You just feel so hopeless. And I, for one, do not want to be sitting here without having voiced how egregious this is going on in our society. You just never know where else it's going to happen.
I agree.
So thank you for your comments, everyone, just to support the effort to at least plead with our elected leaders to take that responsibility. They don't want us to have it, then they have to take it. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else to come?
Just
Yes.
a quick question. I had met with a lobbyist this past week. I think he's talked to all of us about some mobile home issues, and I just want to make sure that that's on our radar to maybe revisit. We've done.
It's on our radar for the county administrator to have a meeting with them. If need be, we'll have a meeting or with the county commission, but I suspect it would be a meeting where people would be bussed in. And I think
Well,
we can better address the issue by
However,
having
yeah.
some other kind of conversations.
I would suggest, if I have an opportunity to meet with him, understand the issues, there's kind of a breakdown of the issues in terms of whether it's an interpretation or a regulatory issue that they don't necessarily appreciate. However, it's a stormwater issue. It goes to some of our principles. So, but I offered to meet with him and the association's executive director. Once I've completed that and we have staff recommendations, I'll come around and brief you, and then you as a commission can make a
Yeah, I
decision.
think that's important, and it is stormwater issues, but sometimes we don't always know all the ramifications of what we're doing. There may be some here that are valid and may not be, so I'm glad you're gonna get a chance to meet with them and let us know if
It's
that
not
needs
just-
to be addressed or not. So,
You know, just to that end, it's just not about stormwater, but it's vulnerable
You bet.
manufactured home parks that we have to then provide emergency locations during evacuations. And then if they are damaged, then, we have lots of resulting consequences. So I think there's a balance here, and we need to, see how we can find that balance.
and
I think
the
we
other
need to
part,
remember who lives in those parks too, and what,
Yes.
raising those things 12 to 15 feet off the ground does to the people that live there.
yeah, there's
and
that
that's-
affordability part, and then
And
the
can I actually
this
get
whole-
into my home?
This whole idea of, getting some affordable housing. So there is that balance. We have to be careful, mindful,
And let us come back.
Yep.
So I have talked to staff, and some of the things that have been said, they don't agree with. And so I want to try to get to the bottom of it and find out, and that way I can provide
Thank you.
a summary for you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.